Hi, Justin. I always start by typing my reply until I realize that typing's slow. So, yeah, much faster to send this video response, which I'm sure won't be too long because I'm just replying to your questions. And, well, I thought I'd do it now before the wife gets home because we're going out to dinner. So, yeah, I'll take this moment right now to answer your questions. What was my second system? Thinking back on it, I think probably, like a lot of people, Atari 2600. That was because a friend of mine owned it, a friend named Gord, and I would go to his house. This was geez, I'm just thinking I'm getting my timeline all mixed up. Yeah. Even though it was, even though the ColecoVision came later, my second system was the Atari 2600 because I would go to a friend of mine, his house, and his name was Gord, and I was just over there a lot playing Atari games. I was that guy because I didn't have the system. I'd make any excuse to go to his place and play Atari games. He was probably bored and sick of it, but I just couldn't get enough. So yeah, I really wanted one, and then the time came. It's funny now that I think about it because I was much younger getting my ColecoVision, even though the ColecoVision came out later, and then it was several years later, strangely, that I ended up seeing this Atari 2600 at my friend's house and us playing it so much, and then getting that system. I think I just ended up trading a friend. I can't remember the specifics. I traded a bunch of toys and things, and I got that. And strangely, at this time, I didn't have a ColecoVision anymore. My growing up was, when as I said, not in a way that I'm complaining. I was never cold or hungry or anything like that, but I never had anything for very long. It was just because of circumstances and moving and things like that. Needless to say, so I didn't have the ColecoVision years later. And then I ended up trading my friend for Atari and a bunch of games, including E.T. And one funny thing I remember about that is some of the games that maybe he didn't take very good care of them, so the labels had gotten wrecked on them. And this is a lot different than nowadays. You can just go online, find the label you want, download and print it. But what I used to do is I was pretty fussy about my games. When I did own something, I was very fussy on it, and I took good care of it. I think you can relate to that. So I had these games that had either torn or somehow damaged labels or half falling off, so on and so forth. So for games like that, I actually I was kind of an artistic person back in the day, and I would sketch and draw. So I had this adhesive paper. I got it from, there was a thing called Arts Junction that was in our school. And you'd go to Arts Junction to get supplies for arts and crafts and things. So I'd make all kinds of excuses to go there and pick up things. And I got this self-adhesive paper. And I would sit down and I would recreate my own labels for these games that didn't have labels. I thought it was kind of cool. Once again, this is one of those things that I wish I had them now, because to be honest, thinking back on them, they were pretty cool. I made a label, I am sure I made a label for Snafu. I think it's called Snafu. Was that an Atari game? It's like Tron Light Cycles, you try to block each other in. I'm sure I made a label for that, and then Breakout and Combat and a few other games, and I drew and colored in my labels and I applied them. And of course, because they were paper, what I did after that was I took some transparent magic tape and just line by line I covered the picture until the entire label was sealed with this like coating that was made from the magic tape. I don't know. I was a kid, you know. I was young, and I just that was my solution. So there you go. Let's see. Okay, I was going to say about the TurboGrafx. To be honest, I wasn't surprised or disappointed with anything about TurboGrafx, because years back, like when the TurboGrafx first hit the scene, me and a friend, I forget how we managed it, but we ended up renting the system. And I was blown away by it from day one. As soon as I put Keith Courage in there and saw the graphics and the sound and the colors and the fact that hardly anything was blinking on it or anything like that, I was totally blown away. But of course, you know, I couldn't afford it or anything like that. But through these years, you know, just being into game collecting and all that, I just, I'm constantly reading about stuff. I don't necessarily have to own something, but I'll know it inside and out. You know, so I pretty much knew the whole history, the hardware, the software, anything and everything that you could possibly know about the TurboGrafx. So, and it wasn't that anything motivated me to get it. I always wanted one. It was just, once again, just the way trades and things worked out, that I got all these other things, and you know, some I use more, some I don't. I end up trading for all these things with the intention of trading them later on or selling them and getting other stuff I want, but then that never happened. And then my collection just built up and kind of spiraled out of control. And through this whole process, I just never ended up, you know, where I may have ended up with 6 Ataris or 6 Atari compatible systems. I just never ended up with a TurboGrafx. It wasn't planned that way or anything like that. It just turned out that way. So when I finally saw a good deal on a TurboGrafx, I just grabbed it. And then I saw someone post another one with the audio video mod already done on it, and so I just said, well, I'll just grab that too, you know, now that I'm in the groove of the whole thing. And so I love the TurboGrafx 16. No surprises. It's exactly what I did remember, and it's exactly what I expected. The video mod on the second one that I got was very well done because it looks beautiful on the television, so I'm quite happy with that. ColecoVision advice that I think you know already. If you're looking to buy a ColecoVision and get into it, like I myself, if I was starting from scratch, I'd probably be on Atari Age and sending a PM to Yurki. I think that's his name, Y-U-R-K-I-E, I believe. He's the guy that refurbishes them and fixes them and is often selling the ColecoVisions and accessories. Like I feel from all the feedback I've seen and from the work that he does and the quality work that he does, I think you're best off just getting a refurbished complete system. I would definitely contact Yurki on Atari Age. I believe that's how you say his name. So yeah, that's I don't know what else to say. Like, you know, eBay is a crapshoot, right? Sometimes you don't get very good pictures. Sometimes items aren't as people claim them to be, and plus, you know, people think because it's no longer a niche type of a thing. You know, anything that's from the 70s and 80s is an ultra uber rare thing now, and they're trying to sell it for way too much money. At least you know, if you deal with Yurki, that it's going to be in great condition, reconditioned. You can get the controllers with the ball knobs and everything on it. He just does amazing work. If I was starting from scratch and I had the cash, I would definitely look into buying from him, or just post a make a post thread on Atari Age saying you're looking to get started in ColecoVision, and you know, who do you recommend I buy from? I'm sure other people are going to say Yurki. Contact him, PM him. He's the Coleco guy. He's the go-to Coleco guy. So, and I guess when in keeping it fairly short, I'll answer your last question. I was born in Sudbury, Ontario, Canada. but I never saw it. I was almost immediately relocated to Toronto, Ontario. And there I spent most of my life. There I spent most of my days. No, there I spent most of my life in Toronto. Never really traveled. Went once to Chicago. A relative brought me winter time, which was kind of cool because I went to the school where they filmed The Breakfast Club, and I saw the house where they made many movies like Risky Business and things like that. Of course, that's what I did while I was there, right? Because I was so into movies back in those days. And then, yeah, I spent my whole life in Toronto, never really venturing too far outside of Toronto until I met my wife 10 years ago. And then that summer I moved into a condo with her. And then within a short period of time we sold the condo. And it was her intention that she was coming to BC, one way or the other. She was coming to BC. So basically it came down to a choice. And obviously I chose to go with her. So I think it was about 6 years ago now or so, we moved to Kelowna, BC. And that's it, really. That's how I've ended up here and how long I've been here, and I love it here. I would never go back to Toronto. Having lived there my whole life, it's funny, it's always the thing with friends and relatives. When you relocate a fair distance away, it's like, first thing, when are you coming back? And what do you mean coming back? I spent my whole life in Toronto. Like, literally, I know it like the back of my hand. I spent my whole life there. Why don't you come see me? You know, like, I never get people like that. You've seen, you know, pictures or video, maybe you've seen, just look up, Google Kelowna. It's beautiful here. Wineries. It's basically considered the, why is the name escaping me now? You know, the wine, the famous wine area in California. I don't know why the name is escaping me right now. But it's basically considered the Canadian version of that. So it's beautiful here, you know, restaurants on the lake, huddled in surrounding mountains. So I always say to my friends and family, I say, why don't you come here if you want to see me? You know, coming here is like a postcard. It's like living in a postcard. It's like a vacation if you come here. I'm not going to go back to where I spent my whole life, even just to see somebody. I always figure if a relationship with a friend or relative is strong enough, then it should work both ways. You know, it's always easy to sit back and say, well, why don't you come visit me? I hate that nonsense. And personally, me and my wife, we're kind of done with that kind of nonsense too. Relationships work both ways. I've had one good friend and his wife come visit me out here in BC. So as far as I'm concerned, he's a true friend. And he did it, they did it as they were having their vacation out here in BC. They dropped by for a few days, and that was awesome. So there you go. That's it. I don't know what else to say. I think I've answered your questions, and just wanted to say thanks for the video. But honestly, no worries. When it comes to classic gaming or computers, I'm often one to get carried away in conversation. My wife knows this. When I'm excited about something, I'm an introverted guy. I don't know if I mentioned that to you. I'm actually drained when I go out and with a crowd of people. But amongst personal, close friends and family, once I'm comfortable, you can't shut me up. And when I'm on a subject that I'm really excited about, it's just crazy. And I don't have to explain this to you. I know you can relate to that. Don't even get me started on Amiga. I could literally talk for hours about Amiga. Even though I don't have any Amiga equipment today, which I regret very much, but that was my favorite computer system of the 80s, hands down. So don't tell the folks at Atari age, all right? So anyways, that's it. I'll leave it at that, and Rob out. I'll make this a private video and send it right to you. Okay, bye-bye.